Hello, hello. Welcome in, everyone. We are so delighted that you are all joining us for an evening spot of tea. For those of you who I have not yet had the pleasure of meeting, my name is Rae, and I am joined by.
I'm Kim, and I used to be here at the museum all the time, and I left to do other things, but I always enjoy coming back and having chat and tea with you.
Absolutely. And you and I both are Christmas lovers. And so I think this is probably our favorite thing that we do
Yeah.
for the entire year. And
Although,
so
I've really pared it back this year. Normally, I have about 13 trees in my house, and I think I am down to 10 this year. So
only 10.
only 10, only 10. But, I think it is just so beautiful here in the museum. And if you haven't been in here to see it decorated for Christmas, it is gorgeous. It is absolute. You did a great job.
Thank you. I think we have spent about 60 hours collectively turning this into the Victorian era Christmas of
Yes,
our dream.
because in Victorian times, more is more.
Is more is
Yes.
more. So this evening we'll be learning a little bit about some of the Victorian but also German traditions and where you can do a little bit of shopping. Please keep yourself on mute during this presentation
Mhm.
so there's no feedback for us. And if you have any questions, feel free to pop them in the chat and we'll get to them at the very end. But the most important thing is first making sure to have a cup of tea.
Absolutely. And it has just been so cold, and it's going to get colder.
I know I unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, I have tickets to see the Joffrey Nutcracker on Sunday when it's
Oh,
supposed to
it's
be the
gonna be
coldest.
really, really, really good.
So I'm hoping that
And I see chai, right? Oh, yummy.
the spiced chai tea that we are drinking will hopefully carry on some lingering heat. So
Yes.
I say you have the blue tea.
This one is one of my favorites. It really is. And you know what? Here, you can put in the water and I'll get this opened here.
Fantastic. We
Oh, the Nutcracker is one of my favorites. I watch it every year, and it just doesn't seem like it's going to be the Christmas season unless I do have the Nutcracker.
Exactly. Let me hand this back to
Thank you, my
you.
dear.
And then, in addition to our lovely tea, tonight we have some cranberry and orange scones.
My favorite combination.
We
I really do love it.
we have a little cherry kind of tartlet pie,
It looks like a little mini strudel.
a little mini strudel, and then we have some mint chocolates that we'll talk more about those later as
Are
well.
they the ones that I think that they are?
They might be.
I
So
love them.
feel free to please help yourself to a drink. And I hope that all of you are enjoying something nice and warm and comforting during this holiday season.
But I bet you they're probably watching in their pajamas.
I hope that you all are very cozy as well.
I would like to be a little cozier myself.
I say yes, one of our favorite things is for me is I also do enjoy dressing in the Victorian era. However, I am being a bad Victorian lady. I do have my hair down, which was
You hussy.
I know I'm being a scandalous woman, and I also am not currently wearing a corset like I normally do in this, but sitting in a corset is pretty difficult.
Kind of digs.
A little
I have
bit.
no idea how those women did it.
I don't know. Well, we'll see, seeing on the screen, we have some people who lived in Lombard during the Victorian era. In fact, the family that is on the screen that you're seeing
Which,
is,
by the way, is going to be hard for us because we changed the position of the camera. So you're over here, but our
yes,
laptop is over here. So we keep wanting to look over there. So please, we don't mean to be rude. We are looking at you.
we are. We have the Hill family is the family that is all grouped together, and they lived in this very home. They lived here in 1909 is when they first moved into the home, and they will stay here until Annie passes away in
Are
1949.
they original homeowners here?
They were not the original homeowners. The original homeowner would have been Newell Madsen, who built this as a rental, but he built it
Really?
in 1883. So this is a Victorian cottage, and the Hill family, who lived here the longest, were from England. So we get to pull in some of those
That's
English
crazy
traditions.
because you really don't think of a lot of rental properties, like a house being built as a rental property.
Yeah.
That is really interesting.
Instead, you think, especially the people who settled here, would be like our other photo we have on the screen, which is Mr. Klusmeyer, who is a German farmer. So he had a farm, kind of, I believe, on the like southwest-ish portion. We had a lot of German farmers, and sometimes I do mix up exactly where each farm was. He
Mhm.
might have been closer to Roosevelt now that I'm thinking.
I don't know where, I can't remember where all the farms were.
He was either he was either by 53 or where Trinity Lutheran Farm is, and
Mhm.
you'll have to forgive me. I'm forgetting
And
exactly where.
every now and then in Lombard, you can see some of the
Mm,
farming,
mm.
almost like relics.
Yes.
If you are on Finley Road,
Mm-hmm.
there is a hedgerow of May apples, or those the monkey
Yeah.
worms or whatever.
Yes.
And those trees were planted and grown to end up being a divider between pastures. And there's still a
Oh,
remnant of one of those over on Finley Road.
that's amazing. And so the Klusmeyers weren't the only German family. There is a whole list. You had the Klusmeyers, the Fleegies, the Zabel family, the Wiegans, and that is just a very short list. And so they were very influential on Lombard traditions, and that shows a broader influence that our German immigrants had during the 1800s, because a lot of our Christmas traditions that we
Mhm.
really think of come from the Germanic area. And a lot of them have to do with a specific individual, a German prince, Prince Albert of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha, and his full name is Prince Franz Augustus Karl Albert Emanuel.
That's a mouthful.
Say it 5 times fast.
I'm wondering, how did she, I always think, like, when these couples get married, how do you remember all of their names? Even like when like Prince William and Kate got married, it's like he's got a string of names too.
He does. Prince Albert marries Queen Victoria, and she was an influential and wealthy enough woman who I think she had someone else to keep track of all of his names for her. But she may have, kept them all in her head and heart herself,
You know,
because
they had such a love affair.
they were so in love with each other. They she writes down in her diaries how she is just enamored with him. Now, we won't look too closely at the fact that they are, in fact, first cousins. So we won't look too
Mm,
closely at
yeah,
that.
but that
But
was again very common back then.
yes, and she is going to lose him. He's going to pass away in 1861 after only 21 years of marriage, and she will remain in mourning for the rest of her life. So even though they spent a very short amount of time together,
It was quality time.
absolutely. So much so that that is a picture on your screens of the royal family decorating their Christmas tree. And so
Yeah.
he wrote down several times about um, wanting to have the childhood that he and his brothers had, that wonder of Christmas for his children. And so that is part of the reason we see trees and other really Germanic influences coming in to the
And
British Empire.
as a parent myself and grandparent, when we think back to our childhood memories of
Mm-hmm.
Christmas, they're magical.
Yes.
And we so want to pass on and share some of those things because we're hoping that that magic passes on to our kids and grandkids. And so it's just one of those wonderful things. So for him to have these really fond, warm memories
Mm-hmm.
of Christmas and then bringing them to a foreign land, really, for him, and to
Yeah,
share them with his wife and his grandchildren. And what's really special is that it's spread throughout the world.
it did, because what Queen Victoria did, everyone did. So we have some very influential
So
music.
she was the original influencer.
She was the original influencer, and so likely she would have heard some of the music that he brought with her. So one of the most popular Christmas carols is Stille Nacht.
Oh, yeah.
known in English as Silent Night. I actually didn't realize this, but in 2011, it was declared an intangible cultural heritage by UNESCO. And there's over 137,000 different known recordings of this song.
Wow.
So you can see that it really has spread across, like you can find jazz, slow, somber, upbeat. It really lends itself to this story of being in the still night. Because I think we all have walked outside when the snow is falling
Oh,
gently,
absolutely.
and even if there's cars and bustles, like it's all muted
Yeah.
somehow. And let
Yeah.
alone if you've had the opportunity to stand out in a forest in the snow in the dark.
Well, I'll tell you, last Monday night when it was snowing,
Mm-hmm.
I had to take out my garbage really, 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 really late at night, 2 a.m. And it was that moment. It was, there's something about the snow, it deadens sound,
Mm-hmm.
and there's this peacefulness that is just all around, and it was just so beautiful. But
I
it's
think you
that
and I
quiet.
had the same moment because I too take my garbage out on Monday night. Not quite as late. Mine was closer to like 8 p.m.
Yeah,
But it was just to stand there in the snow. And we're not entirely sure what inspired Joseph
yeah.
Moore to write the lyrics in 1816. But we know that he was a traveling priest, and it would not have been uncommon for him to have been traveling alone between parishes, and especially you think of our winters and
Yeah.
Germanic winters. He must have been struck by the beauty of a solemn,
Oh,
snow-filled
absolutely.
evening, and being a religious man, the solemnity of the birth of Jesus Christ truly must have just struck him. And so he wrote that poem, and he held on to it for 2 years until he approached Franz Xavier Gruber to set his lyrics to music. And it really is a Christmas story of perseverance, how this came to be. So Joseph was traveling to the um, Oberndorf village near Salzburg to do a kind of nativity, reenact the birth of Christ. And unfortunately, the organ at this church had been damaged. Some stories say mice got into the pipes, others say that there was a flood. They're not entirely sure, but either way, the organ would not be able to play the music
Mhm.
for the Christmas celebration on Christmas Eve. And so he approaches Franz and says, "Can you set this to a guitar?" And so in the on the 23rd, they put it all together very quickly. So then Christmas Eve on the 24th, they are able to perform this beautiful
Mhm.
piece in this church
So
in
if you guys
Germany.
think that there's moments of scrambling before company comes, they were
They
scrambling.
absolutely were scrambling, but it was completed. They were able to perform the piece. And according to Gruber, Karl Marauscher was an organ builder who serviced the instruments at that church. He
Mhm.
heard the song being performed, and then he brought it home with him. And that's how it starts to travel. And so it was introduced to various traveling musicians, and two of them performed. These two families, the Strassers and the Rainers, started to incorporate the music into their show. And so they were singing it already by the time of 1819. So it clearly caught on just after a few
Mhm.
years. And this family was well known. So they were performing for Franz the First of Austria and Alexander the First of Russia. And so they were performing for royalty.
Wow.
And the story goes is that the royalty loved it so much that they said, "We are incorporating this into our canon. It is going to be far and wide performed." And it came to the US surprisingly early. They started performing it here in 1839.
Oh, that's not very long at all.
No, so
When you think if you didn't have internet or anything to spread
exactly.
it, that
We
it just,
are
wow.
your steamships or even sailboats still kind of going across the oceans at that point.
Yeah.
We're still moving at the and information is at the speed of people,
Hmm.
really. And so the it really resonates As we said, it resonates with you and I today. And
Mm-hmm.
so clearly it wanted to transverse the world. And so that is, I think, one of the more significant contributions that the Germans have made, not only to Christmas, but probably to the entire world. Like I said, it's now an intangible part of um, cultural
Yeah.
heritage, and UNESCO guards the cultural heritage for the entire world. And so for them to recognize a
A
very
song.
a song, a simple
Yeah.
tune, um, is very special.
Yeah.
And that's not the only song that the Germans have brought to us. They have also
Mm-hmm.
given us O Tannenbaum. We can't talk about Christmas and Germans without it.
Without a song and a tree.
Mm-hmm. So the images that you're seeing right now, the two black and white photos are both from Alice Gray. If you are local to the Lombard area, her home has been turned into Rosemary and Jean's restaurant. Then you can
Mm-hmm.
actually still kind of place where those trees were in the house based on the wider photos. And then the tree in the center image is a Victorian tree. It was around like 1910, maybe slightly later after the Victorians. But that was found, we found a group of photos in Lombard Hotel, which today is Babcock's Grove House downtown. And so it is just, how much can you put on a tree?
Oh, and this week I learned a little fact about tinsel that was just like astonishing. The original tinsel was pounded and cut silver,
Mm-hmm.
then it was lead. Can you imagine lead?
Well, the reason they did that is because silver is
Oh,
expensive
very.
and lead doesn't lose its shine, so they still wanted that, not realizing
How
all the
toxic it
yes.
was.
But O Tannenbaum with the music is also not quite as old as Silent Night, but it was the modern lyrics were written in 1824
Okay.
by Ernest Anschutz. And the funny thing is, he did not write a Christmas song.
What did he write?
He wrote just a song for being evergreen and faithful and consistent.
So just a tree song.
He wrote a tree song. He was struck by the fact that, as we're fairly all aware, that evergreens don't lose their color during the winter months. They are evergreen, and it became a symbol of loyalty, consistency, and faithfulness. And so his original lyrics and intention was to write a song with that.
It's an ode to a tree.
It was an ode to a tree. And now the tune is based on a Germanic folklore that has been around since like the 16th century. And some of the lyrics originally alluded to a lover being unfaithful if you find the original ones. And so it's a love song and telling you to be faithful to your loved ones. So his some of his original lyrics that are translated were roughly translated, O Tannenbaum, you bear a joyful message that faith and hope shall ever bloom to bring us light in winter's gloom. O Tannenbaum, you bear a joyful message.
Okay.
So there are still references to the idea that we're in winter, and that we have to get through, and we have this beautiful spark of hope that is just going to
Yes.
keep us going, that spring will return, and in the meantime we have this evergreen, ever lovely tree.
Yeah.
And yet people started attaching it to Christmas and the ideas that we suddenly bring in
And
the tree.
that just reminded me too of something similar, but today
Mm-hmm.
is the song Hallelujah.
Yeah.
Because that one was not a Christmas, and now people have changed the lyrics a
Mm-hmm.
little bit to make it a Christmas song as well. So
Exactly.
people go, hey, that's a great idea. Let me jump off and do something a little bit more to it.
Let me fit it to what I need.
Yes.
And that's kind of the story of Christmas trees in general.
Yes.
So the earliest forms that we can trace back the Tannenbaum is to kind of these earliest pagan rituals with the Druids.
And the Yule.
Exactly. And the
Yes.
idea that it's celebrating the winter solstice, which is roughly around Christmas time. It's, I believe,
November 21st. I cannot wait because then the days start to get longer instead of shorter.
Correct. I'm looking forward to
I need light.
yes. And originally, though, instead of fir trees, they would use oak trees and they would put apples and candles in them to celebrate. Because
Okay.
especially when we think of like the Celtic area in
Yeah.
Ireland, I guess there's more of those kinds of trees. Don't quote me on this. I haven't looked into
So
the
a little bit
botany
more
of
deciduous trees versus coniferous.
yes, and that some of those were more readily accessible or those were the
Oh,
ones they wanted to use. Um, and they are putting in kind of the dried apples and the candles onto the tree. And then when Catholicism comes through with Pope Gregory the First, his stance was in order to get people to convert to Catholicism
yeah.
was assimilation and to letting them bring in their
Yeah.
traditions. It did
And
take,
change the meaning.
yes, absolutely.
Keep the tradition, change the meaning.
Exactly.
And that is really good because a lot of people go, well, I don't want to throw away all of this
The
stuff that I love.
to
Change.
welcome in. And
Yeah.
so he wrote that in a letter to St. Augustine. Really, that was his um, modus operandi, what he wanted the church to
So
do.
that was a long, long, long time
That was a
ago.
very long time ago.
Long time ago.
It took a couple centuries for it to truly kind of wrap Christianity
Mm-hmm.
around it. We really see the first written records of Christmas trees are in 1510 in Riga, Latvia. So still in that kind of corner of the world. And it is a merchant's guild that went and decorated a local tree with artificial roses. They danced around it in the marketplace. And like another Nordic Christmas tradition, they set fire to it.
Oh, what?
Just like the goat that they do in Sweden every year, with the idea of renewal and
No.
rebirth. And it was a sense that it was for the Virgin Mary with the roses and everything. So it was
Okay,
really a
yes.
symbolism for her. Um, and that comes from the National Christmas Tree Association. So if you're looking to learn more about Christmas trees, I highly recommend reaching out to them.
I hope they have a Facebook page.
I don't know if they have a Facebook page. They have a fantastic
Because I love
website.
me some Christmas trees.
Yeah, and we really see through the 1600s and 1700s going through these very apple centric. And so carrying it in all the way from the early Druidic traditions,
Yeah.
apples were
Well,
still
and
on the
apples
tree.
are one of those things that
Hmm.
you can store it and make it through the winter
Absolutely.
to for nourishment. So that would be a very important fruit.
It was all still there. And I also, my favorite thing I learned, and I don't know if you've seen the people who have cats who try and combat the cats in the trees. I've seen people trying to hang them from the ceiling.
Yes.
And it turns out that that is a very old tradition as
They
well.
have an upside down
To
tree.
have an upside down tree, they would cut the tip of the uh of it off, of the
Yes.
tree off, and
Yes.
hang it from the ceiling upside down.
Well, there you go. I just saw a cat tree where you actually put artificial branches on so the cat can get in.
Oh.
It's really cute.
Because I have a feeling if you can't beat them,
Join, yes,
join in.
yes. Just don't have any glass ornaments on it.
No, get all the shatterproof paper ones. Because goodness knows if you have any glass or very nice ones.
Oh, they're gone.
My little brother, unfortunately, he gave his fake tree away because he sent me a picture of his cat just fully in the box, and he said we have opened the box for 10 seconds. So they will not have a Christmas tree this year because she has made it impossible.
Yes.
But from all these traditions with our Klusmeyers and Dietrichs and our Wiegans and Zabels, they're the ones who bring that Christmas tree in the form that we see it here today. And so by the mid 1880s, when this home was built, Christmas trees were well established here in the US.
That's fabulous. I am so grateful for that because
Yes,
I love that tradition.
it is fantastic. And we do know that Prince Albert is credited with the popular credit of he's the one. Whether or not it was actually him, some historians debate like all popular myths.
Hmm.
But sometimes this is a
He's the
story.
one that gave it wings.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so we do know that some of the royal families had them even earlier. So a 13-year-old Princess Victoria, she wrote in her diary, after dinner, we went into the drawing room near the dining room. There were two large round tables on which there were two trees hung with lights and sugar ornaments, and the presents being placed around the tree. And so it was something in her childhood, but it wasn't quite yet spread
Yeah.
throughout.
Well, I think one of the things that, excuse me, really got it going though was their family portrait.
Yes.
So once they had that family portrait in front of
Mm-hmm.
that and it was kind of spread out, people saw it and they go, oh, now I get it.
Exactly. So yes, that would have been 1848 in the London News. They had a couple of different lithographs, and they would just put it everywhere. And so once again, it's where Queen Victoria does it. Everyone
Yeah,
wants to do it.
yeah.
And we see even by the 1850s that they're advertising Christmas trees in newspapers in England. And unfortunately, also reporting on the accidental deaths that happened around trees.
Yeah, they are flammable.
They are flammable, and we'll talk more about those a little bit later. But because they would light the actual candles on the tree, and it was
Yeah.
is a fire
Mhm.
hazard.
Mhm.
But we see that even in America, the first 50 in 1851, we start seeing the first Christmas trees being sold here, and Franklin Pierce is credited with bringing the first Christmas tree to the White House in 1853. So we start seeing Christmas really becoming popular. And one fun fact: when do you think the first artificial trees became popular?
Oh, I would have no idea.
1883.
That's a lot earlier than I thought.
I thought, because you know, like the tinsel trees of
Yeah,
like mid-century, so I was
yes.
thinking like 1920s, because
Plastics and stuff I was thinking, but
and it's the Sears Roebuck Company in 1883. You can start buying a fake Christmas tree. You can buy one that has 33 limbs for 50 cents or 55 limbs for a dollar.
it's kind of cute 'cause I just watched the original The Bishop's Wife,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a scene in there where the professor is going with the tree merchant and saying, "I will not pay more than 10 cents per limb."
Which I saw that and I was thinking of the cost of an artificial tree today.
Mhm.
I did not realize they can get very, very spendy very
Yes, they
quickly.
can. Yes, they can.
So, yeah, that was something that I was very shocked to learn how early
So you could
artificial
go into the Sears and Roebuck catalog, you could purchase your home and your Christmas tree.
you absolutely could, and you
They
could
sold
they
everything.
so you would be very hard pressed if they didn't sell it. You probably didn't want to buy it.
Yeah, well, that is cool.
But once that you bought the tree, you have to decorate it.
Yeah,
And so we really do see some of those dried fruits. So your apples, oranges,
they smell so
cranberries.
good.
Yes, and they're a lot easier to make than I think people realize. They take a little bit of time, but if you want to make your own dried kind of orange wreath, you just want to slice oranges about, I don't know, a centimeter
But I
thick.
was just thinking, oranges at that time would be very decadent.
They would.
Because as I'm just like here in the cottage, we have a fireplace over here with stockings, and I see an orange peeking out of one of the stockings.
We do.
So it was so special that it was even a
Mm,
gift.
it was a gift at the time. And so it was a way that you could kind of show off your wealth. So you'll notice one of the images we have on the screen is of our staircase here in the home as it's decorated this year. And we have strung fake orange slices this year.
Yeah.
But you put them in a low oven and just let them dry out. And then you take a big needle and some string and you just put it back and forth, and it gives off such a beautiful scent. And so
Mhm.
that's one of the ways that we're starting to see people really elevate their Christmas experience. Um, as I said, apples were another popular dried fruit.
Mhm.
And we quickly start to move beyond that into paper ornaments. So the two ornaments on the far left of your screen, the fan and then the two cones underneath it, those are made from paper.
That's really pretty paper.
It is very nice paper. And so people were hand making the ornaments that they would have. And so they would decorate their entire tree. Now, I think my personal favorite would have been the cones because you would stick little sweets and candies and tiny presents in the cones,
Definitely.
um, which are always just a delight to find. And then we slowly start moving up from there. As we see Christmas starting to become a little more commercialized, people stop making quite as many decorations in the home. We start moving into the very German glass Christmas balls.
Glasses. It's beautiful.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. But
It will break on you.
we've broken a few.
So the silver bauble that's at the bottom center of the screen is a German silver bulb. That is a vintage one as well. And so they invented a way to kind of silverize and nitrate everything. And so they're going to invent those in Lauscha, Germany. And it was Hans Greiner. And he would produce not only the round baubles but the glass beads. He would create some of those more unique shapes like you see in the center image above it, and really revolutionized it. So he in the 1850s figured out how to use silver nitrate to silverize it, and by the 1880s they've really come over and kind of just taken over everything that they have. And then of course you want to make sure that you have lighting though to reflect off the silver baubles. Yeah. So you would have tin light reflectors. But as I alluded to, they were putting real candles on their tree.
But where we will turn our lights on and leave them on all day, they did not do that.
No.
And a lot of times they just lit the tree for a few moments on Christmas Eve. It wasn't, oh yeah, we're going to light the tree and then we're going to go cook dinner.
No, it was, we are going to light the tree, we're going to examine and how beautiful it looks, and then we are promptly going to put out the tree. Because they, while they did have artificial trees, I have to imagine, as I said, those were probably also very flammable.
Yeah.
But they're bringing in live plants into their homes. And so there have been, unfortunately, a number of Christmas tree related deaths due to fire. And so that's part of the reason why it's very important to make sure you water if you have any sort of live Christmas tree. And we are very fortunate that I have left our candles on all day, but we use electric ones because one, it is an exhausting job, and two,
we're in a museum.
We are in a museum, let alone if you're in your actual house.
And we're not allowed to have real candles.
No. I do not want real candles in here, but it does give off such a beautiful glow, and the reflection is just stunning. And
lots
so
of tinsel.
They would have lots of tinsel. So yeah, in addition to, as you said, originally tinsel was actual silver. And they would originally tinsel was used in fancy clothing is where they first got it, and then like kind of with the idea of pounding it out and slicing it very thin.
I would not want that job.
No, this is a very skilled job that they probably did not get paid enough for. And really until like in the 1950s, like tinsel is going to be more popular than any sort of lighting on your tree.
It's probably because they didn't have their cats living in the house.
Probably not. And so it really is just to create that idea of freshly fallen snow.
Icicles and.
But of course, with the Victorians, they want to put as much tinsel on their trees
because
as
again,
possible.
More is more.
More is more. And so you, if you walk through this house, you will leave with tinsel on the bottom of your feet and attached to you.
Well, I was at Hobby Lobby the other day, and all of their employees were glitterized. So another hazard.
Yeah, we don't have too much glitter in this house. It was not very accurate to the Victorian era, and the few pieces we have that are glitterized to bring in a little sparkle are far and few between, which I appreciate as the person who does the majority of the decorating for this home. I walk away with so much glitter and tinsel. But you have your tree and you need to decorate it. And if you're not making them at home, you have to go shopping to find what you need. Yes. So we have to give the lady what she wants. And so Marshall Fields truly is the iconic department store of Chicago.
Institution.
And it is where people would go for the holiday experience. And so I actually didn't realize that Marshall Fields, he partnered with Palmer of the Palmer House originally. And he had another business partner. They ended up buying out Palmer in the 1870s, which was probably good timing for him because a year later the Chicago fire happens.
That is good timing.
Is very good timing. But they were able to save about $200,000 worth of product and begin selling it like 2 weeks after the fire at a time
Wow.
when,
I mean, when you think of that in today's
Mhm.
dollars,
Oh, yes,
they saved a lot.
they saved a lot and they had a captive market because everyone lost pretty much everything.
They
And
were
so
the only one in town.
they were able to take advantage of that tragedy and they were really able to create that solid foundation. And so they became the Chicago institution off of the Chicago fire. And they're really where we get this idea of the customer comes first. They're the ones who pioneer. And the story goes is that Marshall was watching a sales clerk work with a lady because at this time women needed their husbands to go shopping with them because
You couldn't go unescorted.
couldn't go unescorted. It was not necessarily safe. There was a lot of rowdy and, you know, roughhousers kind of in the area. And this sales clerk, though, was arguing with the lady about what she was trying to purchase and trying to have this air of he knew exactly what was right. I know what you want. You're not listening to me, you stupid lady. Like, this is kind of this. And Field saw this and went over and allegedly that is when he said, give the lady what she wants, probably after a very nice marketing is when they actually came to that. But that really once again sets that standard of what this store is going to be. They want this to be an experience. They wanted people to walk in and know that this was a destination, that they weren't just coming just to shop, that they wanted you to know. So that's why they have that iconic dark green branding. They also noticed that people were leaving notes where the original clock was to come back and meet at a certain time, and people didn't necessarily carry timepieces. And so that's why he put the clock there because there's this giant clock. And if you need to tell the time, you have to come to my store if you don't have your own. And
That's the clock on the outside of the
the
building,
clock on the outside of the building.
which has a Lombard connection,
It does.
which is really cool because actually it's our next door neighbor.
Mm-hmm. She
And
is.
yes, and she created the arms for that clock that's outside. And isn't like one of the arms like 6 feet almost?
Oh, I forget exactly how tall it
The
is.
minute hand I think is almost,
Because we have such a distance from it, you
yeah.
think it's smaller than it is, but it's just like with traffic lights. You get close to it and you realize the
There,
scale
yeah.
of it. But he did a lot of really good things first. They were the first to have a wedding registry. They offered the first really to offer free gift wrapping. They had free delivery within about a 350 square foot mile.
That's really innovative.
With 400 wagons and 700 horses. And so they're really, as I said, building themselves up to keep being more and more and create this elevated experience. And so they wanted to keep people in the store. And one of the ways you do that
Well,
with
now I
this,
want to know where they kept the horses.
they,
They
the,
had stables underground or
they might have
something.
had stables underground, they might have had them nearby,
Oh
but
my
they
gosh.
see them in the alley um,
I'd rather
at
have,
there.
yeah, that'd be kind of fun instead of an Amazon truck.
A horse. Well, if you're on Mackinac Island, they still deliver things
Yes.
that way.
Yes, they do.
So,
Yes, they do.
but to create that elevated experience, one of the things that they did is they brought candy to the store,
One of my favorites.
the Frango Mint,
Oh,
and we have a nice little pile of them here.
I was so worried when Macy's took over that the Frango mints would disappear. I am
Yes.
so happy.
Well, did you know that they're not a Marshall Fields original?
They're not.
No, so Marshall Fields, similar to Macy's, they actually bought out a Seattle department store, FN Nettle, I believe, like a F
Okay.
something in Nettle, and they were creating these Frango mints in their department store. They saw it and they moved them to Chicago.
Well, I just love, the green and the chocolate.
Hmm.
It's like, do you eat like one color first and then eat the next through the box, or do you mix them?
Oh, I mix them.
You mix them?
I do mix
I have
them.
a tendency to go, I'll just eat the green ones now. And now I'll eat the
I do
matter of
mix
fact, I
them.
will eat a green one.
And so they used to make the candy right there on the store, I believe it was the 13th floor, because Marshall Fields is an entire square city block that's about 13 floors high. And so you would have these women who were working in the candy shop creating the Frango mints, and then they would just walk down several flights of stairs and you have your fresh candy.
That is so amazing.
And they also wanted people to come inside. And so we have on the screen, you'll see there is an image of the Frango mints, but also the window. So that particular image is from the late 1800s, early 1900s. And even back then, they were putting their wares in the storefront and creating something fantastical. They wanted to entice you to come in the store, show you the things they had inside that you had to get, that you needed. So even if Marshall's wasn't your destination, you were going to go inside
Mhm.
Marshall Fields because the glimmer caught your eye and they would have all
If it's
sorts of
this
things.
magical outside, what is it on the inside?
Exactly. And so they really did this the entire year, but obviously during the Christmas season, it
Went to another level.
exactly. And so they still continue to do the Christmas shows today. And one of the women who, if you haven't, if you want to learn more about Marshall Fields in general, WTTW did a fantastic documentary that came out this year. And one of the window designers is quoted as saying is that it is Marshall's gift to the city. And which is really special that they viewed it
Yes.
that way,
Yeah.
that yes, they want you to come in and shop, and yes, they are business, and of course, they want your money, and they are not this altruistic entity. But the fact that they knew that there would be people who it would just be their little noses pressed against the glass, and that would be their interaction with Marshalls, maybe for the entire year, um, is really special that they didn't, get Scrooge and bah humbug and
Mhm.
really, say, oh, we have to do this. It was truly an event to create a fantasy. So they started doing these, for years and years. We even get original creations and characters made. You have Uncle Mistletoe and Aunt Holly, which they also had actors portrayal because you could meet, because Santa comes to Marshall Fields. He
Mhm.
would come there and you could meet him. And Uncle Mistletoe and Aunt Holly would be there too. So they had
Oh, adorable.
and they had come to life and were full-sized people as well, and so they really leaned into this fantasy. So the idea that it was an entire story, and they wouldn't always pick like a winter story. It wouldn't necessarily always be 12 days of Christmas or the night before Christmas, which I believe are two of the themes that they have done. In the year 2000 they did Harry Potter, and that's not a Christmas
No,
story,
very modern. Yeah.
not even really a winter story. But so they said the challenge was, how do we turn this into a winterized story and pull
Mhm.
in those winter elements and Christmas and holiday elements.
Yeah.
And it sounds like it was a really fun creative process to
And it was kind of cool
create.
though with this Harry Potter,
Mm-hmm.
tapping into
Mm-hmm.
modern culture.
Exactly.
I know that at one point they had a lot of the Hanna-Barbera
Mm-hmm.
figures in their windows, and now you can see those at a bar on the north side in Chicago at Butch McGuire's. But they originally came from the Marshall Fields windows.
And they create these displays, or they created them on site. They had the workshops in some of the higher floors. And I mean, you think about how big that building is,
Yeah.
and that they would decorate every floor that was access to the public in days. They're and so it's not just like one city square block is a lot. There's multiple floors. It's like 10
They have to
floors.
have one floor just for storage. I mean, think
Oh,
about it around
absolutely.
here, just what we have to try to find a place to store stuff is just crazy. But can you imagine as a child walking down past Marshall Fields before the window is decorated and it's closed up, and the anticipation of what is going to be behind the
Just
curtain,
trying to get that little sneak peek,
trying
seeing
to
if they're gonna
see a little crack in the thing
and
just to figure it out.
see what the theme will be. And it really is just magical.
Mhm.
And that idea still continues on today with the walnut room is the other really big holiday part of this. And so it leans into another way how Marshall Fields wanted people to stay in the store because going back to when women weren't allowed to shop by themselves because it wasn't necessarily safe, there also weren't spaces for women to even eat out in the city. They had to go
Yes.
home
And
because
if you're shopping and you're peckish, you don't want to leave the store to go someplace else to eat.
no, because you had to go home. And if I don't know about you, but if I go home in the middle of running errands, those errands are getting done another day.
Yeah,
And the other quote unquote option was for a lady to walk into a saloon full of rowdy men.
right.
And that was truly not really an option. And so the story is that a sales associate, Mrs. Herring, was trying to close a sale, and she doesn't want this woman to leave, but she
Right.
was getting peckish, and so Mrs. Herring said, "Well, I have my chicken pot pie from home, and you and I can split it." So
She shared her own meal.
she shared her own meal, and that chicken pot pie recipe is still on the Walnut Room
Well,
menu today.
I hope she got a raise at least.
She at least I hope she got a raise, and I hope she still gets credited. So it is on the menu. It is her name next to it, and she is really the one who pushed this. And she got a little bit of pushback at first. At first, Marshall was like, "Well, you didn't quite see it," but then when they kept kind of poking at him, being like, "No, if people stay."
Stay.
One, they have to buy the food. It's not
Yes.
going to be just lovely
Yes.
Mrs. Herrings all the time sharing
Yeah.
their pot pies. And if they stay, they're going to spend more money in other departments and they'll just have this wonderful experience and once again create that destination. Marshall Fields
Hmm.
sold postcards. You could buy a postcard that said you visited Marshall Fields. In fact, one of the earlier
So
images
they
was a
probably,
postcard.
yeah, they probably had a post office in the building.
You could send your parcels home. They
They had a
had
stand.
a post office. They had at one point a salon. They had a ladies' room, like kind of lounge area that had phones. If you wanted it, just like with the Sears Roebuck catalog, if you couldn't find it at Marshall Fields, it probably wasn't worth your time finding. And I didn't realize this. Today, the Walnut Room is still on the seventh floor in its original location, but originally the entire seventh floor was food options.
Oh my
So,
goodness.
in addition to having the Walnut Room for
Wait, the
tea,
original food court?
it was the original food court. They had someplace called the Tiger Grill where you could get grilled. They had another little like tea, like even like not a step down because the food was still good, but even more like quick service tea kind of
Mm.
cart. And you would just have all of these different options. Now, the Walnut Room is still obviously iconic, and so it did spur on other copycats, but no department store ever got to the same scale of food service as Marshall Fields.
Well, and I think when I think of the walnut room, yeah, I think of the food, but I also think of the tree.
The tree is fantastic. So they started doing that tree in 1907 is when they first put the tree. It was a 45-foot tall real tree until the 1960s when
How
fire
did they
codes
even get that in the building? Oh my God, 45?
you I don't know, but they also have gotten an elephant into the Marshall Fields, like a live full elephant that they then had to she didn't want to go back down the freight elevator, so they did have a freight elevator. So
Okay, yeah, okay, no. I know you know that I worked at the zoo for a while,
yes.
back when we did have elephants.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I know that smell.
So they it was only a 1 day with the elephant, thankfully.
Right,
But so they had ways, I'm sure, of finessing. Today, I'm sure that tree is in pieces and that they connect it
right.
to redecorate it. But yeah, until the night from 1907 until the 1960s, when they did change fire codes and were like, hey, maybe not a giant tree in the middle of a building that is
Yeah.
very crowded.
Well, I know a lot of those trees too were multiple trees put together.
Yes.
So
So
that'd be easier to get it into the building.
yes. So they really wanted to create this experience. And even though, as you said, um, it is no longer Marshall Fields. It is a Macy's today, but something that they've done very special this year is it is a Macy's themed Christmas window and a
So they,
Christmas tree.
okay.
So they are paying homage. You can buy
I
the
think,
clock as an
I
ornament.
think I need that ornament.
I don't know. They might be sold out already. I
Oh,
know
they have to keep making them.
they do. So that one says 2025. I saw ones with a number of years, so I think they might make one each year.
Okay.
But the store windows this year really lean into the legacy because
Well, there was a little bit of backlash
there was a little bit of backlash.
yes, when Macy's took over.
The people cut up their cards.
How dare they?
People were very rightly upset. And so I think that happened in, was it 2007? So we've had a little bit of space and time. Chicago will never forget
No.
that. We will never let it become Macy's. It's not Macy's.
And the
It's
Sears Tower will always be the Sears Tower.
exactly. We're stubborn like that in this
Yes, we
area.
are. We're
But
dug in.
we the Chicago History Museum does have a lot of um memorabilia and a large Marshall Fields collection. So a lot of the ephemera has been saved. And they do recognize the legacy of Marshall Fields and really to a store that greatly influenced Macy's too, because you think of Marshall Fields being one of the first, if not only department stores, I mean, to give the lady what she wants. Even though Macy's has its own very strong roots, especially on the East Coast. I don't think they run quite as deep as Marshall Fields does here in
Yeah.
Chicago.
We're
And
very loyal fans.
we are. I know you might be wondering, how does Marshall's connect to Germany?
Yeah, I never really thought about that.
So,
Fields. Okay.
so while he himself was not German, one of the things that Marshall's Fields wanted to do himself is he wanted to have international shopping experiences. So he had buyers all throughout Europe. So if you wanted to buy a German Christmas bauble, but you wouldn't get on a plane or a ship to go to Germany,
Right.
you just needed to go
You
only.
couldn't afford to do the grand European tour.
You only needed to go up the street to Marshall Fields.
The world is at your hands right there.
It truly is. And even when we look at it today, I'm sure the early Germanic peoples, when they thought of their Tannenbaum, would have never even imagined a 45-foot Christmas tree sparkling in lights in a giant department store. And so you kind of alluded to this when we talked about, Tannenbaum taking the lyrics and changing it. We've done that with the Germanic Christmas traditions here in the United States. We have adopted from them the ones that we truly love and molded them and made them fit our own traditions today.
Absolutely.
So, leading into the Christmas past and present. And so you can see these are images of Christmases past here of our very own parlor. So the front parlor has the two bows, and then our back parlor from a couple years ago here as well. So I hope you have enjoyed your tea and chatting with us. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat here.
Or if you have any fond memories of Christmas,
Yes.
have you been to Marshall Fields?
Yes, if you've been to the Walnut Room this year, I am extremely jealous because I really
Right.
want to go and see that tree.
Yes, I do too.
So, which reservations are notoriously difficult to get. However, it is
I
a,
like this part.
a little of a kind of well-known secret. It's not super common, but if you want to, they have the bar that is there, and so the bar has the same full menu. They have some high tops in that space, and if you the access to the full menu, but they don't take reservations for there. So if you want to try your luck, I recommend probably not a Saturday, Sunday, or Friday, and
Mm-mm.
maybe at an off meal time, but you might be able to sneak your way into there. And you are able to go up and walk and take photos in front of the tree as well. So you get the full access
So
to
you get,
everything.
yeah, that's awesome.
I do also believe that there is a way that if you're on one of the other balconies, so not in the walnut room itself, that you can still look down and see the tree. You obviously won't be able to like get the full um at floor level experience, but you can still see the tree, I think, from another balcony, but I'm not 100% sure where that one is. So it doesn't look like we have any questions or stories coming in. I'll give it one more minute. Do you want to share a Christmas memory or story?
Christmas memory or story? I don't know. It, I don't know why it's always just been so special to me. There is just this magic of Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Just everything about it. I always get really excited about it. My husband had really loved it. So it's just a really fond memories and the kids. Yeah, I'm excited. And I love going downtown and seeing the lights, just
Mm-hmm.
driving down Lakeshore Drive,
Oh, it's
or
beautiful.
down State Street.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Do they still put the big trumpets? Didn't they have like big
They
trumpets?
did. I did see photos that the trumpets are out this year. So, and I
Yeah,
believe that they've put those out. It's been a couple years since I've walked by on State Street, but the last few years, I believe they've had them out too
yeah,
because they do believe they are still trying to make goodwill with the city of
yeah,
Chicago,
yeah.
as they know. All right. Well, it looks like we will wrap up our evening. If no one has anything they'd like to share or any questions, thank you so much for joining us. I hope that this has been just as lovely for you as it has been for Kim and I. Please check out any of the other upcoming events that we have if you want to come and tour the home yourself and see in person everything. We have tours on Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. Um, with tours starting at 1, 2, and 3. And then we will have extended hours on the 21st, 22nd, and shortened hours on the 23rd. And so
And how long will the house be decorated?
we will have the house decorated up until the 23rd. So you've got a little bit of time to come and see it.
Very good.
Yes, and then we also have, if you're in the area on the 20th, we are hosting the Radio Players West are coming and doing another radio play for us, and they will be performing
Fun.
a comedic Christmas short, Christmas Dagnet, which is based off of a song, and they will also be performing a Christmas carol. So that is a free program, but spaces are limited. So if you visit our website, you can register for that there as well.
That sounds so fun.
So I hope you're able to join us for those and that you have a wonderful holiday season. Thank you so much and